What's up, Steelers Nation? The team is constantly looking for ways to improve, to get better, and to bring home more wins. That's what makes the Pittsburgh Steelers one of the most respected franchises in the NFL. And today we've got a big story to dive into, one that could shake up the wide receiver room in a major way. But before we get started, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. All right. Let's get into it. It's no secret that the Steelers need help at wide receiver. Throughout the 2024 season, it became painfully obvious just how dependent the offense was on George Pickens. And when he was sidelined with a hamstring injury for 3 games, the Steelers' offense completely lost its rhythm. Simply put, there was no real threat outside of Pickens, and that's not a sustainable formula for success. The upcoming 2025 NFL Draft presents some intriguing options, but the Steelers also have other ways to address the issue through free agency and the trade market. That's where this latest development comes in. Last offseason, Pittsburgh was linked to a potential trade for Brandon Ayuk from the San Francisco 49ers. A deal never happened, but the interest was there. Now the 49ers are back in the conversation, this time with another star receiver. According to ESPN insider Adam Schefter, the 49ers have given Debo Samuel permission to seek a trade. That's right. One of the league's most dynamic playmakers is available, and Schefter himself believes Pittsburgh is a possible landing spot. Speaking on the Pat McAfee show, Schefter shared some insight into the situation. I spoke to Debo yesterday morning. We didn't go over the teams just yet. There are a lot of teams that can use a player like Debo. Obviously, I think the 49ers did a tremendous job of maximizing his talents. I could see him in Pittsburgh. I could see him in Baltimore. I could see him in a lot of places. Any of those AFC North teams make sense. This is a big deal. We're talking about a player who, at his best, is one of the most explosive offensive weapons in the NFL. Samuel's ability to make plays after the catch is elite, and his versatility, lining up as a receiver or taking carries out of the backfield, makes him a unique threat. This is where things get interesting. On the surface, adding a veteran receiver like Samuel makes sense. He would give the Steelers another proven playmaker to pair with Pickens, creating a more balanced offense. But there are also some real concerns. Samuel is coming off a disappointing season in 2024. With Ayuk missing the year due to injury, many expected Samuel to take over as the clear number 1 option. Instead, he finished with just 51 catches for 670 yards and 3 touchdowns in 15 games. Not exactly the kind of production you'd expect from a star receiver. On top of that, injuries have been a recurring issue throughout his career. Samuel has played a full season only once since entering the league in 2019. That's a red flag for any team considering making a trade for him, including the Steelers. Another key factor is the price. The 49ers aren't just going to give Samuel away, and his contract isn't cheap. He carries a significant cap hit, and the Steelers would need to figure out how to fit him into their financial plans. Would you be willing to give up draft picks or other assets to bring him to Pittsburgh? That's the question the Steelers front office has to answer, but that's not the only big news surrounding the Steelers. The quarterback position is once again a hot topic heading into the offseason. Reports are surfacing that Pittsburgh could be in the market for a new starting quarterback, again. With Russell Wilson and Justin Fields both in the picture, the team is evaluating its options. There's even speculation that one of them could be on the move, possibly to the New York Giants or even to a division rival like the Baltimore Ravens. The idea of Fields or Wilson ending up in Baltimore would certainly add another layer to the AFC North rivalry. But the bigger question is, who will be under center for Pittsburgh in 2025? The Steelers have a lot of big decisions to make this offseason. Do they trade for a veteran wide receiver like Debo Samuel? Do they stick with their current quarterback options or make a bold move for someone else? One thing is clear. This team cannot afford to be complacent. The AFC North is one of the toughest divisions in football, and the Steelers need to make the right moves if they want to compete at the highest level. For weeks now, the speculation has been that Russell Wilson's time in Pittsburgh will be short-lived. After just one season, many believe the Steelers are ready to move on and go in a different direction at quarterback. Reports have been swirling that the team is looking at younger options, with Justin Fields at the top of their wish list. But Adam Schefter just threw a curveball into those rumors. According to Schefter, he personally spoke with Wilson at the Super Bowl, and the 36-year-old quarterback gave a very different impression of his situation. "I was with Russell on Friday, and I'm just telling you, the tone I got from him was entirely different than reports that are out there," Schefter said on the Pat McAfee show. "We'll see what winds up happening, whether or not he's back there. But I think he feels like there's definitely a chance he's going to be back there. He's having conversations with the organization about the future and where it's going to go." That's a major development because it suggests that Wilson still sees himself in Pittsburgh's plans, despite all the rumors saying otherwise. Wilson has already started contract talks with the Steelers. One of the most interesting details that came out of this report is that Wilson has already had discussions with the Steelers about his future. "Yes, we have started to talk a little bit, obviously, and we had our meetings and everything else and kind of just getting into it," Wilson said when asked about contract negotiations. That raises the question, if the Steelers were dead set on moving on from Wilson, why even start those conversations? Now, let's be clear. Just because the Steelers are talking to Wilson doesn't mean he's their first choice. In fact, a lot of people around the league believe the team is still exploring other options. But it does mean that Wilson isn't completely out of the picture, and that's something Steelers fans need to keep in mind. One of the biggest reasons why Wilson's future is uncertain is because the Steelers are rumored to be heavily interested in Justin Fields. The 25-year-old quarterback has been linked to Pittsburgh multiple times this offseason, and if the Steelers have a chance to land him, many believe they will. But here's the thing, Fields is going to have other suitors. Several teams are reportedly interested in trading for him, and there's no guarantee that Pittsburgh will be the team that gets him. That means Wilson could be the fallback option. If the Steelers miss out on Fields, or if their other plans fall through, Wilson might end up being their best remaining choice. Schefter himself hinted at that possibility, saying, "Again, there's still a lot that's going to play out here. But I think he definitely thinks that he may be back in Pittsburgh." That tells us one thing. The door isn't closed. Should the Steelers bring Wilson back? Now, let's talk about what Steelers Nation really wants to know. Should Russell Wilson be the starting quarterback in 2025? Let's look at the pros and cons. The case for keeping: Wilson experience and leadership. Wilson is a Super Bowl winning quarterback with years of experience in high-pressure situations. He's been there, done that. Stability. Bringing him back would allow the team to focus on improving other areas rather than completely resetting at quarterback. He's already in the system. Learning a new playbook takes time, and Wilson has already spent a year in Pittsburgh's system. That familiarity could be valuable. The case for moving on: age and decline. Wilson is 36 years old, and while he's still capable, he's not the same quarterback he was in his prime. Inconsistency. His play in 2024 was up and down. There were flashes of the old Wilson, but there were also moments where he struggled. The future. If the Steelers believe Justin Fields or another young quarterback is the future, sticking with Wilson could delay that progress. So, where does that leave the Steelers? Now, I want to hear from you. Should the Steelers go after Debo Samuel? Do you think he would be the missing piece for this offense? Or would it be a mistake to trade for him? And what about the quarterback situation? Should Pittsburgh stick with Wilson or Fields, or look for another option? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Let's get the conversation going. And before you go, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss any Steelers updates. We'll be keeping you posted on all the latest news, rumors, and analysis throughout the offseason. That's it for today, Steelers Nation. See you in the next one.